everyone, and welcome to the Connor Convocation Center in Crestview Hills, Kentucky. Today on the PAC Sports Network, it is a championship doubleheader. First up, the PAC Women's Basketball Championship, as the third-ranked team of the nation, the host Thomas More Saints, take on the W&J Presidents. I'm Randy Gore along with Justin Piles for today's game, and Thomas More undefeated. They have rolled through the PAC schedule 18-0 in the conference. They're 27-0 overall. The W&J Presidents with another 20-win season, 20-7 and 13-5 in conference play. Both teams getting here with impressive semifinal wins last night. W&J, who had lost twice in the regular season to St. Vincent, defeating the St. Vincent Bearcats in last night's contest. In the Thomas More Saints, with a record performance from Sydney Moss, able to defeat their opponent to reach this title game. And so two teams that have been rolling along, especially the Thomas More Saints, but W&J, of course, hitting their stride at the right time as well.
Well, both teams kind of an anomaly last night with scoring over 100 points against their opponents, which sets up a great final here today. Thomas More's been rolling all season. We've touched on them every single time we've seen them. A big story last night, Sydney Moss's record-setting performance. W&J, the strategy in here is trying to slow her down, trying to slow down the Saints, and tempo is going to be a huge part of today's game, especially if W&J wants to come in here and pull off what would be a monumental upset.
I talked with Coach Gina DeRubo, the W&J Presidents, a short time ago, and she said exactly that, Justin, that their goal is to control the tempo of the game. They need to slow the game down and also don't turn the ball over. A team that stresses in pressing opponents in Thomas More. They press opponents, steal the basketball constantly, and uses their defense to produce points. And that's something that W&J, along with controlling the pace, they have to take care of possessions once they have possession of the basketball.
One sets up the other. The defense sets up the offense, but also the offense will set up the defense. After a missed shot, Thomas More can set up that press and use their defense, their trapping, their press to generate turnovers, generate points, and that's something that they've been doing not just this year, but since we've been watching them play basketball here. Just unbelievable, relentless pressure, and they love to get out and run.
And when these teams met in the regular season, in the second meeting here at Thomas More, W&J, while it was still a loss, had much more success in controlling the tempo. And so that's going to be the strategy against this fast-paced Thomas More team. Again, the third-ranked team of the nation. And Jeff Hands, the head coach of the Thomas More Saints, well, if W&J wants to slow you down, then obviously his goal is to speed up the W&J Presidents, and they hope to do that with their press. He stressed that in order to speed up the Presidents, they need to make shots on their offensive possessions to set up the press, and then also to stay disciplined on defense.
Yeah, absolutely. Thomas More has done a great job of implementing their game and dictating the pace of the game and getting their opponents outside of their comfort zone, and that's pretty much been the recipe for success for Coach Hands and his crew.
As far as individuals you will hear from today, one that you might have already heard quite a bit about, or if you've been watching ESPN today, you might have heard a little bit about Sydney Moss of the Thomas More Saints, their 5'10" sophomore guard. She leads the nation in scoring, averaging 28.6 points per game. She also set the NCAA Division III single-game scoring record last night with their victory over Waynesburg. She scored 63 points as the Saints put up over 100, something they've done on a regular basis lately, but 63 points, a new Division III record, and that being held now by Sydney Moss.
Well, the Saints have put up 100 points several times this year. That's nothing new. What is kind of new for Sydney Moss is that she played the amount of minutes that she played. Not used to really playing over 30 minutes, averages under that per game, but the way Waynesburg played last night, Waynesburg played a heck of a ball game last night, shooting over 50% from the floor, making a dozen three-pointers, really hanging with Thomas More in terms of something we haven't seen before at a high scoring level. W&J has done that when they slowed it down, but Waynesburg, for the most part, was scoring with Thomas More last night, and that really kept this Thomas More starters in, kept Sydney Moss in, and that's really what can happen when Sydney Moss plays a complete game. Just not something that we've seen a whole lot of this year at all because of the lopsided scores Thomas More's putting up.
In my conversation with Jeff Hands of the Thomas More Saints, a tip of the cap to the Waynesburg Yellow Jackets, he said they played very, very well in last night's game. And as you said, by the fact that they did play as well as they did, it forced players like Sydney Moss to go the distance in that contest. And also, Jeff Hands had said during the course of the season that as the season wore on, he was going to play his regulars deeper into games, regardless of the score, not to run things up. But he has to prepare his team for the NCAA tournament. And when you're going up against foes in the NCAA tournament, obviously the quality goes up a notch. You're going to have to play a full complement of minutes, and that is why. Well, we're just about ready for the national anthem here at Thomas More and in Crestview Hills, Kentucky. So while we get ready for that, we'll pause for a break. We'll come back with the opening tap on the PAC Sports Network.
Disability affects the lives of over 29,000 people in Fayette, Washington, and Greene counties. Tri-County Patriots for Independent Living are people with and without disabilities working to meet those needs in the community. The success of Triple comes from the commitment of a dedicated board of directors, its members, and volunteers. To continue to improve services, Triple is renovating the historical YWCA building located at 42 West Maiden Street in Washington. This will allow for an assistive internet cafe, increased veteran services, and transportation and wellness to provide skills to help with independent living. Your help and feedback are appreciated, and if you seek assistance, we're here to help.
Bankruptcy myths. Busted.
Bankruptcy is just another word for failure. It's for deadbeats.
The typical person filing for bankruptcy is 38, middle class, and educated. Over 90% of bankruptcies are traceable to job loss, illness, or divorce, factors largely out of anyone's control.
Myth. Busted. Bankruptcy myths. Busted. Brought to you by Foster Law Offices. Call today to schedule a free consultation and sleep better tonight.
For 3 generations, Sharps Furniture has been proud to serve Southwestern PA with their brand of personal service. Being an authorized dealer for Lazy Boy, they are dedicated to providing the finest quality products made here in the US of A. Looking for custom upholstery? Sharps carries a large selection of upholstery to choose from, all made in America. And their friendly staff will deliver right to your front door. Sharps Furniture, your authorized Lazy Boy dealer. Family owned, family operated since 1917. Located just off I-70, exit 19B in Washington, PA.
Welcome back to the Connor Convocation Center on the campus of Thomas More College. The Thomas More Saints, the top seed in the PAC Women's Tournament, hosting the W&J Presidents. The Presidents, the 3rd seed in the tournament. How these teams got here: first round win for Thomas More, 127-34 over the 8th seeded Teal Tomcats, and then defeating Waynesburg last night, again putting up over 100 against the Waynesburg Yellow Jackets, with Sydney Moss scoring an NCAA Division III record 63 points. For the W&J Presidents, the Presidents with a first round overtime win over the Bethany Bison, 85-81, so squeaking by the Bison, and then defeating the 2nd seeded St. Vincent Bearcats 101-91. And here they are, the Presidents, with another 20-win season against the Thomas More Saints. We're going to go to Justin Piles here in a moment for our starting 5, but first let's introduce our triple 3-point shooters of the game. Tri-County Patriots for Independent Living, players to look out for from beyond the arc. For the Thomas More Saints, well, you can look out for this young lady from just about anywhere on the floor, but from beyond the arc as well. Sydney Moss, she's 45 of 119 attempts from the outside, good for 38%. And for the W&J Presidents, look out for Alexa Del Greco. She's 40 of 111, good for 36% this season. And now Justin Piles with your starting lineups.
For the visiting Presidents, 5'7" senior Kara Seaman, 5'9" sophomore Becca Belhigh, 5'10" senior Chelsea Apke, 5'3" junior Alexa Del Greco, and 6'3" junior Valerie Dunlap. You'll see Dunlap, Belhigh, and Apke kind of patrol the paint. You'll see them set up in the post, and Apke is kind of that hybrid type of player. She will step outside and knock down a jumper or two. Very talented front court for the Presidents. And for the home team here, Thomas More, very veteran group. 5'8" senior Katie Kitchen, 5'7" senior Devin Beasley, 5'5" junior Sydney Wainscott. Then on the inside, a couple of 5'10" forwards, junior Jenny Burgoyne and sophomore Sydney Moss. And kind of like Apke, Moss, you'll see her all over the court as well. And you already mentioned her 3-court prowess, so she has that ability to step outside and knock down a long jumper as well.
Very talented teams on both sides. Of course they are. You don't get to this point without some talent, and deep teams as well, especially the Thomas More Saints, one of the deepest teams that Jeff Hands has said he has ever had. Not one of, the deepest team he has had here. Now in his 3rd year with the Thomas More Saints. Gina DeRubo in her 9th year as the head coach of the W&J Presidents. Of course, she had coached with the Bethany Bison, was the head coach with Bethany prior to her time at W&J, so a long-time head coach in the President's Athletic Conference. And we're just about ready to go, and a little bit of fun here to start. You have Sydney Moss with the opening tap against the much smaller Alexa Del Greco, and so a token presence there in Del Greco as Thomas More wins the tap, and we are underway.
W&J already set up in their defense 2-3 zone.
Sydney Wainscott for 3, and it's 3-0. Thomas More to start.
And that's the way you beat a 2-3 zone. If you can make your jump shots, a long day for the defense, and will make W&J change that up a little bit. But very odd start to the game, already back in the defense with Del Greco in that center circle.
Wainscott, the top 3-point shooter in the conference in terms of 3-point shooting percentage, hits at a 46% clip, and she's 1 for 1 already today. Inside look to Val Dunlap. She'll spin toward the basket. Baby hook no good. Rebound, Sydney Moss. Moss ahead to Devin Beasley. Beasley, assist record holder here at Thomas More, the single season record holder, and continues to up that mark. Also the career record holder in assists at Thomas More. Right now, baseline look to Burgoyne, out to Wainscott. She'll dribble in a few steps, swing it around to the left. Katie Kitchen with 6 on the shot clock. She'll throw one up from near the free throw line. Rebound tipped out to Chelsea Apke near the baseline. And here comes Alexa Del Greco. Del Greco in contact draws a blocking foul on Devin Beasley. Early in this one, the PAC Women's Championship. W&J visiting the Thomas More Saints. Glad you can be with us today on the PAC Sports Network. I'm Randy Gore along with Justin Piles, Sarah Eichenberger, our camera person today, and our producer, Kat Guyan.
Championship Saturday across the Division III Landscape Law Championship games, and we have another one here after this, the men's championship game. Thomas More will host that one as well, taking on St. Vincent around 7:30.
Second free throw is true for Alexa Del Greco, and W&J on the board, trailing by 2. Wainscott eyes the bucket. Will dribble right and pass it away instead. Tic-tac-toe passing right now for the Saints. Sets up an open 3 for Katie Kitchen. Nothing but net.
W&J really packing it in there. You looked at Burgoyne trying to hit Moss on a flash down the lane, and W&J surrounded her, so just kicked it back out to Kitchen. She sank a 3-pointer.
And Kitchen, 3rd in the conference in 3-point shooting percentage, but Chelsea Apke left all alone underneath the basket, and W&J with a response. 6-3 our score. Sydney Wainscott, shot blocked by Val Dunlap, gets the rebound. Her putback no good. Apke with the basketball, trapped in her own end, but releases a pass to Kara Seaman, and now into the forecourt comes Del Greco with numbers. Finds Dunlap, baseline jumper, short on the shot, rebound Burgoyne.
And a couple times Thomas More a little slow in getting back against W&J, and a couple of nice looks around the rim. Last time down, Apke was able to make it. That time Dunlap rimmed out.
Moss quick 3, spin zone. All 3-pointers so far for the Thomas More Saints. They lead 9-3. Moss with her 46th 3-pointer of the year. As we mentioned, one of our triple 3-point shooters to watch out for today. Becca Belhigh gets that one in over Jenny Burgoyne, and 9-5 our score. Belhigh, 5'9" sophomore. Very tough competitor. As Devin Beasley passes it off to Moss. Wainscott finds Burgoyne, baseline, has a cutter. Moss with the scoop lay-in, 11-5 Saints.
Same play as a moment ago when Burgoyne decided to hold on to the ball. That time she found Moss down the lane. Easy lay-in. That's a dangerous thing about Sydney Moss. So versatile, but also very good on either side of the hoop with the left hand and the right hand.
So far, W&J has handled the Thomas More press. Kara Seaman, one of the best point guards in the conference, dribbles into traffic, and the whistle foul charging on Kara Seaman.
And that was Katie Kitchen drawing that charge, planted in the lane. So one foul on each
As we approach the 16-minute mark in the first half, 11-5, Thomas More leading. Thomas More, the reigning champions. They have won 7 conference titles in a row, looking for number 8 in a row. And this is also a rematch of last year's title game. Wayne Scott, crossover, baseline move. And a foul upcoming on W&J. Becca Belhai was guarding, and she will be whistled for the foul. Talked with Gina DeRubo about last year's title game and asked her what advantages does that give W&J this year. The fact that they're in the same position as they were a year ago as far as, they're in the championship game against the top-seeded Saints in their house. And she said, well, it very much helps them. It helps ease the pressure for W&J. They've been here before, and also in terms of pressure, she said there is none felt for her team, that all of the pressure is on Thomas More, the top seed and the third-ranked team of the nation, as Becca Belhai drains a bucket 11-7. That's obviously interesting, mental aspect when you think about that. Is for W&J without the pressure of playing in this big game, all of which she's hoping is on the Thomas More Saints. A miss by Thomas More, but another 3 for Sydney Moss, left wide open, 14-7.
No, that's just the range of Sydney Moss. Already knocked down a couple of them in this game, trying to draw out that W&J defense, still packing it in pretty good around that rim.
15-18 and counting in the first half. W&J bounce pass Apke to Dunlap. Short on the shot. Apke trying to get the rebound over Katie Kitchen, and that's the problem.
That's the second foul Kitchen has drawn, just being in good position that time. Boxing out Apke. Apke tried to go over the top and called for the foul.
Third foul on W&J, and Chelsea Apke, a player that W&J, especially from her nature where she can do so many different things well, one that it's imperative for her to stay out of foul trouble. Still in the first half with 15-12 to go, it's 14-7, Thomas More. And with a timeout, we'll take a quick break here from the Connor Convocation Center. We'll be right back on the PAC Sports Network.
When you are in need of fast, affordable, and professional voiceovers, contact TimeAd Productions. TimeAd Productions offers voice services for business presentations, documentary narrations, radio, television, imaging, and commercials, movie trailers, corporate phone systems, websites, audiobooks, and more. Visit or contact us online at www.timeadproductions.com.
And back from our timeout, 14-7, Thomas More leading W&J in the PAC Women's Championship game. W&J had cut it to 11-7, but a three-pointer by Sydney Moss up to 14-7. And for Thomas More, the majority of their field goals, the vast majority, have been from beyond the arc. Sydney Moss with 8 points, including 2 trays. Sydney Wayne Scott and Katie Kitchen with a three-pointer apiece. Becca Belhai early in this one, leading W&J with 4 points.
Yeah, both teams shooting 50% from the field. Thomas More 4 of 5 from beyond the arc. W&J yet to attempt a three-point shot. Been a huge difference, huge source of offense so far for the Saints, those three-pointers.
Thomas More into the forecourt. Devin Beasley to Wayne Scott. Will slide right with her dribble around the perimeter. Katie Kitchen inside. Sydney Moss over Dunlap. Shot grazes the rim, but fighting for the loose ball rebound, Katie Kitchen. Katie Kitchen, while Sydney Moss is the headliner, Katie Kitchen, a player who does so many little things. And there's another offensive rebound for Katie Kitchen. Stepping up at the right time, right on cue.
Well, a couple years ago, Katie Kitchen was the offensive force for the Saints, and Wayne Scott sinks a 3. Give the Saints a 10-point lead, but Katie Kitchen, along with Allison Long, really the two key players to stop for Thomas More. And now with the depth of the Saints, she's become a second, sometimes third scorer with the emergence of Jenny Burgoyne also underneath.
Now, Allison Long, the PAC Player of the Year a year ago, since graduated, now an assistant coach. Katie Kitchen also having recovered from a pair of ACL injuries over her college career. There's a lay-in for Chelsea Apke to cut the score to 17-9.
Well, you can't keep trading 2s for 3s if you're W&J. At some point, they need to come out and attack these three-point shooters for Thomas More.
And the zone defense being employed right now by W&J. Well, Thomas More They're taking the three-point shots. Problem for W&J is they're sinking them. And a nice head fake there by Sydney Moss to get some space and the bucket off the window. 10-point lead for Thomas More. 13:36 and rolling in the first half.
What a rifle from Katie Kitchen, too, from the corner to the opposite side of the hoop.
Katie Kitchen mentioned the ACL injuries last year, and she was a junior technically, was going to hang it up after last season. Beautiful behind the back dribble by Wayne Scott. Can't finish, however. Burgoyne fights for the rebound and then travels on the floor. But back to Katie Kitchen, had full intentions of hanging it up after last season, but she did have 1 year of eligibility remaining and thought about things, got that itch, and was training for a half marathon over the summer and felt that her knees were as strong as they've ever been, and decided, well, she talked with Coach Jeff Hand, said, hey, I'd like to give it another shot. And Coach Jeff Hand said, by all means, welcome back.
I don't know anybody that's run a half marathon with weak knees either, so that's probably a good thing. If you can make it through a half marathon, you know your body's in good shape for basketball.
Ball out of bounds, a near steal by Thomas More, then trying to recover the basketball. Alexa Berzis touches it last out of bounds. Inbounds pass coming from the far sideline from our broadcasted camera perspective, as Stephanie Krusling sends it in to Sydney Wayne Scott. That's a great point. I don't know that you can train for a half marathon and have weak knees by any means. There is a lay-in, beautifully set up for Alexa Santamaria, and Thomas More with a 21-9 lead.
And that was Sydney Moss making her teammates better. She scores an abundance of points, but she does a great job of getting her teammates involved and really enhancing production from everyone on the floor, and that was an example of it right there with that pass.
Becca Belhigh shot partially blocked underneath. Sydney Wayne Scott already with a couple of three-pointers today. Feeds Krusling, who puts up a triple off the left side of the rim. Rebound Chelsea Apke. Apke, the top rebounder for the W&J Presidents, averages 9.8 per game. Alexa Berzis in the forecourt. Wide open for three. It bounces around and falls through. Jeff Hands before the game today for Thomas More, he said, we have to keep our eye on Alexa Berzis. She's been cold this season from beyond the arc, but in this building, she was 6 for 8, now had on another 7 for 9 in any games played at the Connor Convocation Center this season. Berzis from the outside, and now with a rebound, Berzis, as W&J trails 21-12 with 11:44 to go in the first half.
Maybe she plays extra games here besides the one a year because she got the membership roll off the front rim there on the last shot.
Berzis, one of the top three-point shooters a year ago for W&J, and a bit of an off year for her from that standpoint, but has been very good in this building, and well, it comes at the right time for Coach Gina DeRubo and the W&J Presidents. Ball out of bounds, timeout here at the Connor Convocation Center in Crestview Hills, Kentucky. The homestanding and top-seeded Thomas More Saints leading 21-12 with 11:34 to go in the first half. We'll pause for a break on the PAC Sports Network.
Bankruptcy myths busted.
Bankruptcy is just another word for failure. It's for deadbeats.
The typical person filing for bankruptcy is 38, middle class, and educated. Over 90% of bankruptcies are traceable to job loss, illness, or divorce, factors largely out of anyone's control.
Myth busted. Bankruptcy myths busted. Brought to you by Foster Law Offices. Call today to schedule a free consultation and sleep better tonight.
And welcome back to the Connor Convocation Center. Game one of our championship doubleheader on the PAC Sports Network today. At 7:30 tonight, the St. Vincent Bearcats visiting the Thomas More Saints in a rematch of last year's title game, although the roles were reversed in terms of host site. This time it's St. Vincent visiting Thomas More. That in our men's action at 7:30, but here the women's championship game. Thomas More up 21-12 over W&J with 11:34 to go in the first half. Becca Belhigh, baseline inbounds pass upcoming for the W&J Presidents. Presidents in their road black uniforms with the red numerals. And Thomas More in the home whites with the black numerals and lettering and blue trim.
I like both these sets of uniforms, stamp of approval on each. So glad this was a home game for Thomas More. We got to see the roads of W&J and the homes of the Saints.
And we don't see the homes of the Saints very often because most of the time when we see them on the network, it's in Western Pennsylvania. Ball tipped out of bounds by Thomas More, so W&J stays in possession.
It's a nice trip out here, though. A little warm up of the weather from what we're used to at home, and nice road trip with you and Catherine.
I had a fun time coming out. Here's a theft by the Thomas More Saints. Cruising, wild shot, no good off the backboard, out of bounds off of W&J.
Right before that media timeout, W&J was starting to play a little bit faster than I think they wanted to start this game. And even now, Thomas More is starting to dictate the pace, or is dictating the pace. Might be something that the presidents want to be aware of. Slow it down. The last game that they played against Thomas More, much different than the first time, 65-52. They really slowed down Thomas More, and even though they didn't win that game, they were in that game for a majority of it. Compare that to the 96-62 game in their first meeting.
And that's what Gina DeRubo pointed to, W&J's head coach. The final score in that second meeting, that controlling the tempo of the game is what she wanted, as they did for the most part well in that contest. As you mentioned, it was a loss for W&J, as Thomas More has yet to be defeated this season. But that's the style of play she wants to see her team put forth and accomplish today, but pretty tough when you fall behind early as they have today. Right now, 21-12 with under 11 to go, 10:56 to be exact here in the first half.
Well, Thomas More scored over 100 points 8 times this year. That 65 is the lowest total of the season.
Devin Beasley steal to Burgoyne with a bounce pass, misses on the bunny. Rebound Tori Bishop for W&J. Score stays 21-12. Well, no turnover stressed by Gina DeRubo, and that was a giveaway right there by W&J, but they get away with one as Thomas More missed on the point-blank shot by Burgoyne. Apke trying to create some space. Bounce pass tipped by Burgoyne and taken away by Beasley. She'll run the four. Beasley from the right side, no good. Rebound Apke.
Well, even though they've turned the ball over there, W&J have done a good job of limiting their turnovers and eliminating turnovers so far. Just their 5th of the ball game.
Pass inside, stripped free by Thomas More. Here they come again. Long pass ahead to Olivia Huber. She'll stop underneath the backboard, spin into better positioning, and the kiss off the window. 11-point lead for Thomas More with 9:58 and counting in the first half.
Jenny Burgoyne started that play with a nice lead pass to Huber, resulting in a 2-on-1. Huber kept it, got the lay-in off the spin.
Olivia Huber, member of the Thomas More soccer team, all PAC selection this past fall on the soccer field. Not a bad basketball player either. Santa Maria with a block, but a foul coming up on Santa Maria.
So they have a soccer player, they have a half marathoner, some good endurance players on this team.
Yeah, they can go for a while. A lot of endurance out of this Thomas More group, and the style they play, you need to have endurance with the pressing defense. Of course, you see a lot of players in and out of the game for Coach Jeff Hands. Kara Seaman at the free throw line after the foul on Santa Maria. Hits the first free throw to make it 23-13. Second free throw also good. Kara Seaman, who averages 8.5 points per game, the team leader for W&J in assists and steals. 143 assists and 60 steals this season. Lead is 9 for Thomas More, 9:33 to go in the half. Top of the key, Beasley feeds Huber right wing. Santa Maria out to Beasley, left side, Krusling. Bounce pass Burgoyne, circles out. Del Greco reaches in to jar the ball loose. Santa Maria inside, beautiful dish to Huber with the touch, 25-14.
Everyone gets a touch on the floor for the Saints. Inside-outside game, passing game working well there in and around the zone until they found the open player for the lay-in.
Alexa Del Greco into a double team. Tie-up arrow is with the Presidents.
Yeah, Devin Beasley originally on the ball there, then Huber, then Santa Maria came over until it was actually basically a triple team. Difficult to dribble your way out of that.
Individual scoring so far, Sydney Moss with 10 points for Thomas More. 4 points each for W&J's Becca Belhigh and Chelsea Apke. 25-14 our score, 8:55 and rolling in the first half. Val Dunlap Looks left to Berzis. She has one three-pointer already today. Comes free around a screen from Dunlap for another three-pointer. Boy, what has held true. The comments from Jeff Hands about Alexa Berzis. Hits another three-pointer, 25-17. W&J has cut the lead to 8, and Jeff Hands quite upset that Berzis has come open. Surely he had talked with his team about not letting her get free, and she did. And Thomas More pays the price, and they're hearing it right now from Jeff Hands.
Yeah, the defense has been an issue, especially along the perimeter. Inside, too, a little bit. And the reason it's not a bigger problem is that W&J just hasn't connected on all their shots up close. But right now, they're finding a lot of openings in this Saints defense.
Berzis this season from beyond the arc, 34 of 95. That's 36%. But Berzis a year ago hit at a much better rate. And not that her rate this season is poor by any means, but by her standards, it's a little bit lesser, if you will. And, well, she continues to thrive here at the Connor Convocation Center. Now 8 of 10 from beyond the arc in all games this season. And a travel by Olivia Huber slid the feet before she had her shot blocked. W&J with the basketball. They'll have a baseline inbounds pass from Chelsea Apke upcoming. Huber will check out. The pressing defense of Thomas More. Alexa Del Greco wants some help. Finds some from Aaron Lavery, 5'7" junior. Lavery, bounce look to Del Greco. Del Greco once fouled Dunlap. Pass tipped out of bounds by Jenny Burgoyne. Burgoyne out of Macaulay High School. Hails from the Cincinnati, Ohio area. 5'10" junior. Burgoyne with a bust-out season this year. Playing good defense to tip that ball out of bounds. But right now, W&J continues their possession inside the Dunlap. Gets her own rebound. No good. Rebound goes to Burgoyne on the second attempt. Sydney Moss looking for some space. Feeds Wayne Scott outside. Will dribble in a few steps. Passes to Burgoyne. Diving effort to keep the possession and avoid the travel with the quick pass. Kitchen left corner. Three rattles out, but she'll shoot three at the line. Fifteen foul on W&J, first on Aaron Lavery. 3 team fouls for Thomas More as we have a media timeout. 25-17, Saints leading W&J, 7:52 to go in the first half. We'll be right back on the PAC Sports Network.
3 generations, Sharps Furniture has been proud to serve southwestern PA with their brand of personal service. Being an authorized dealer for Lazy Boy, they are dedicated to providing the finest quality products made here in the US of A. Looking for custom upholstery? Sharps carries a large selection of upholstery to choose from, all made in America. And their friendly staff will deliver right to your front door. Sharps Furniture, your authorized Lazy Boy dealer. Family owned, family operated since 1917. Located just off I-70, exit 19B in Washington, PA.
Back on the PAC Sports Network, 25-17 our score. Thomas More, the top seed in the women's PAC bracket against the third seeded W&J Presidents. Again, 25-17 Saints. The Saints, the third-ranked team in the nation, according to various polls, and has creeped up the list throughout the season. Is garnering much respect in national circles. And again, the headliner's been Sydney Moss. And of course, she boosted those headlines last night with a 63-point performance, setting an NCAA Division III single-game mark. But this is quite a deep team, and one that was very talented before the transfer of Sydney Moss. She transferred from the University of Florida back home to her home state area of Kentucky, and feels quite at home here. Knew some of the Thomas More players before arriving, and she has made what is an already terrific team that much better, and a national title contender. First free throw good for Katie Kitchen.
Yeah, this was going to be a terrific team before the transfer of Sydney Moss and the decision of Katie Kitchen to come back for another season. Always deep on the bench, always a talented team, and to get those two players to play with you in addition to the core group that was already here, as just an already spectacular team, was going to reach that next level, and they have this year.
2 for 3 on that trip to the line for Katie Kitchen, has the Saints leading by 10, 27-17. W&J has been as close as 8 which was just moments ago since the Saints opened up a 10-point lead at 19-9. Brzezis comes free around the screen. This time misses from beyond the arc. And rebound Sydney Moss as she jogs it across into the forecourt. Devin Beasley open for three, nothing but net.
Oh, she's not necessarily the leading candidate to score points for Thomas More of a facilitator, but if she gets rolling, that's just another body you have to count for beyond the arc.
And Devin Beasley, while she is known in the conference for her ability, as you described her, as a facilitator. Remember, 2 years ago in the PAC Women's Championship game, after injuries to Katie Kitchen a couple of weeks prior, and then Allison Long, prior to Devin Beasley's injury, my apologies, Devin Beasley had scored 30 points in the PAC Women's Championship game 2 years ago. So she has the ability not just to set up her teammates, but she can pump it in the basket as well. And then she was lost not long after that was Beasley 2 years ago. And then Allison Long, who was a PAC Player of the Year winner, was terrific in stepping up then in the NCAA tournament in Beasley's stead. A jumper by Sydney Moss, 32-17.
Yeah, Beasley, very talented player, but with the talent on this team, she's perfectly content with just setting up her teammates. If they need a basket from her, obviously, like a moment ago, she can make them, knock them down, but that's not her style really anymore.
And she doesn't need to score 30 points. It's just that's the setup of this team. 7 on the shot clock. Three-pointer rattles out for Aaron Lavery. Rebound Thomas More as the Saints have opened up a 32-17 lead. Reach-in foul on Lavery. That'll be her second. Sydney Moss to trigger, and does so. Half court to Devin Beasley. 5:47 and counting in the first half. 32-17 our score, favoring the homestanding Saints. Sydney Moss, finger roll lay, and 34-17. Saints starting to pull away. Moss with 14.
It's kind of the way this team plays. It almost has a feeling that they've not played a great half of basketball, yet they doubled up their opponent, have 34 on the board, and still 5 minutes to go. What a bounce pass there. Moss to Burgoyne underneath.
Beasley set that up with a steal, and W&J has to call a timeout. Gina DeRubo expends a timeout with 5:17 remaining in the half. Thomas More has quietly run this score up now to a 19-point lead. And it's funny to say quietly, but that's really the way it's kind of been. It hasn't been on an extended run, just inching it up as they move along here in the first half.
It's not been their best half of basketball at any point in the season. But you look up at the board right now, 36-17, 5:17 to go. I mean, they could go into the halftime break with 50 points and kind of a disappointing first half by their standards. I don't know, just the way that they play. I've seen them play much crisper halves this season, but they're getting it done right now.
Well, right now the Saints are on an 11-0 run. It was 25-17 after a three-pointer by Alexa Brzezis of W&J. Timeout. Apparently that message has been received by the Thomas More Saints, because Jeff Hands was quite the unhappy camper after the Brzezis three. Becca Belhigh fouled. She'll head to the line to shoot a pair. 5:02 to go in the first half.
That's something we haven't seen a ton of so far. Fouls at either end, free throws at either end. 3 of 4 is W&J, 2 of 3 are the Saints.
Free throw for Belhigh. Gives her 5 today. She averages 14.2 points per game. Kind of takes after Chelsea Apke, the seniors Apke, sophomore Belhigh, and do everything type of player, feisty player as well. It's both free throws. She has 6, 36-19. Right corner, Wayne Scott. Three-pointer is good for Wayne Scott. That's her third triple of the afternoon. 38-19. Well, that must have been a 2, actually. Unless they didn't give her enough points on the scoreboard. I believe that was for 3. We'll double check that. Chelsea Apke with a jumper. Yeah, it looks like the scoreboard operators don't have that accurate. It's 39-21 our score. And Jenny Burgoyne from the inside misses on the bunny. Put back, though, is good. Makes it 41-21. A 20-point lead for Thomas More.
We'll check it out. Live Stats has it at 41. The scoreboard has it at 40.
Lay it underneath for Taylor Cortazzo, 5'4" freshman. 41-23. We'll go with the live stats as we'll deem them official at this point. And again, that's what I saw and believe. The officials had indicated Wayne Scott for 3.
I didn't even look up at the play because I thought she was good in the corner.
Automatic, Sydney Wayne Scott. Chelsea Apke, long-range jumper for 2. Rebound Burgoyne. Long left-handed pass ahead to Sydney Moss. Moss fouled by Lavery. Thomas More, some of the folks here want an intentional foul at the Connor Convocation Center. The officials will congregate about that. And let's see here. Intentional foul indeed. Lavery's 3rd. That puts Sydney Moss to the line, a 78% free throw shooter. But before she will shoot any free throws, a media timeout. 3:32 to go in the first half, 41-23. Thomas More will be back on the PAC Sports Network.
When you are in need of fast, affordable, and professional voiceovers, contact TimeAd Productions. TimeAd Productions offers voice services for business presentations, documentary narrations, radio, television, imaging, and commercials, movie trailers, corporate phone systems, websites, audiobooks, and more. Visit or contact us online at www.timeadproductions.com.
And welcome back to the Connor Convocation Center in Crestview Hills, Kentucky. The Thomas More Saints up on W&J 41-23 as we are in a media timeout, but an intentional foul called moments ago on Erin Lavery of W&J. That's her 3rd foul, but more importantly than that, it has Sydney Moss at the charity stripe for Thomas More, a very good free throw shooter, with what already is a healthy lead for Thomas More in the PAC Women's Championship game. 3:32 to go in the first half. And waiting for the media timeout to fully expire here at the Connor Convocation Center. Glad you can be with us today. And actually, it looks like the folks here, the officials at Thomas More, reviewing some video and see what exactly this may be about, whether it's about the intentional foul. I know that we had talked about the fact that Sydney Wayne Scott had appeared to hit a 3-pointer earlier on that has only been listed as a 2-pointer on the scoreboard. Official stats has it listed as a 3 in the live stats. So
sometimes that's about just the button that you hit at the time. Basketball being such a quick game, you can always go back and edit that as well. But so far it's still up even with that timeout at 41-23. Scoreboard has it 40-23.
Well, Sydney Moss heading to the free throw line. Scoreboard here at the Connor Convocation Center remains sitting at 40-23. Again, we're going to go with the live stats at 41-23. Sydney Moss misses the first free throw. Sydney Moss, 5'10", sophomore. The PAC Player of the Year, the awards for the PAC Women's Basketball first team selections, and Coach of the Year, Player of the Year coming out recently. And Sydney Moss, a no-brainer for Player of the Year. It's only 1 on that trip, but with possession afterwards. Thomas More misses on a jumper by Huber, but a giveaway to Wayne Scott. Finds Santa Maria, beautiful dish to Sydney Moss for the easy bucket. 44-23, 3:11 to go in the first half. Sydney Moss with 17 points and a foul on W&J. Gina DeRubo wanted the controlled pace. The script has not gone in her direction, or at least the game has not followed her script that she would like to see. Olivia Huber from the right side. Shot off the side of the backboard. Rebound Bishop, then is fouled. That's the 5th team foul on Thomas More. The first on Huber. Chelsea Apke, like Sydney Moss, also a Division I transfer. She transferred into W&J from D1 Presbyterian. Missed her first year at W&J with a knee injury. Played all of last season, and really this is just her second full year at W&J, but she has certainly been a productive athlete for the Presidents in her time wearing the red and black. Nice positioning on the left side of the lane for Becca Belhigh for the Deuce.
She's got a nice inside game, Becca Belhigh. Nice touch around the hoop.
Nice inside dish. Wayne Scott to Sydney Moss. Moss with 19 here in the opening half. 2:10 to go within it.
So many times she creates her own shot there. That was her teammate setting her up. Wayne Scott to Moss.
Del Greco looking for Bishop. Miscommunication. Ball out of bounds. Now a rematch of last year's PAC championship game. Thomas More winners of 7 conference crowns in a row. Trying to make it 8 straight in a group that has very high aspirations. Ranked 3rd of the nation. Inside look for Moss, but it's over her head and taken away by Apke from behind baseline. Now it's Kara Seaman in the backcourt. Always pressuring the Thomas More Saints, even when they don't convert a basket. Apke trying to create some space on Santa Maria. Finds some, drains a point-blank jump shot. 46-27 our score. Wayne Scott, good dish to Santa Maria, juggles initially and also travels.
But didn't catch that pass cleanly. Maybe shuffled the feet a little bit, getting her bearings before attacking the rim.
Chelsea Apke with 6 points today. Becca Belhigh, the team leader for the Presidents, with 8. Apke with Moss glued to her. Pass airmailed over Alexa Del Greco, the 5'3" junior guard. .108 in period and half number 1. Sydney Wayne Scott has Huber, right quarter. Santa Maria swinging around, top of the key. Wayne Scott won't pass up the 3. And it's off the mark, a little short on the shot. Didn't quite have that one measured up. And Apke runs the floor for W&J. Bounce past Santa Maria as she will circle out. 22 to shoot, 43 on the game clocks. And it's Kara Seaman. Dribbles left, looking for Apke. And out of bounds off the fingertips of Apke. So some passes airmailed here by both teams over the last few minutes. 38.6 remaining in the first half.
Thomas More looking for a strong finish to this half. 38 seconds, so they won't have a shot at the final shot, but could wind the clock down a little bit. Maybe look for a lay-in opportunity or an open 3, work the ball a little bit. Certainly no rush by them.
Devin Beasley swinging around left side to Sydney Moss. Devin Beasley with 15 to shoot, 21 on the game clock. Patient possession right now for Thomas More. Moss for 3. Off the mark, rebound. There will be a foul on Thomas More as Kara Seaman got to the ball.
But Huber picking up that foul. That will be...
should be her second, if indeed it is on Huber. 11.8 on the game clock in half number 1.
There it is. Second on Huber, 6th on the Saints, so no free throws yet.
It looks like the scoring situation has been rectified, so count that as a deuce on that second shot, or excuse me, that third shot for Sydney Wainscott, not a three-pointer. And she has 8, and it's 45-27. Becca Belhai has the ball ripped away by Moss. Buzzer beater shot. Off the shot clock and then drops through, but that's out of bounds. Much to the delight of the folks here at the Connor Convocation Center, but the shot clock is technically out of bounds.
No, but that's a heck of a shot to make it horse if you call it. But unfortunately, that will not go down as a long distance three, but heck of a shot by Sydney Moss. Heck of a half by the Saints, 45-27. Like we were talking about towards the end of that half, maybe not their best half of basketball of the season, but it certainly served its purpose, getting out in front of the Presidents here in the PAC Championship.
No, and again, that scoring issue that we mentioned about Sydney Wainscott's potential three-pointer earlier on from the right corner, that does go down as a deuce. So 45-27, Thomas More leading at the half over the W&J Presidents in the PAC Women's Championship game. We'll take a break, and when we come back at the half, we'll talk to PAC Commissioner Joe Onderko on the PAC Sports Network.
Disability affects the lives of over 29,000 people in Fayette, Washington, and Greene counties. Tri-County Patriots for Independent Living are people with and without disabilities working to meet those needs in the community. The success of Triple comes from the commitment of a dedicated board of directors, its members, and volunteers. To continue to improve services, Triple is renovating the historical YWCA building located at 42 West Maiden Street in Washington. This will allow for an assistive internet cafe, increased veteran services, and transportation and wellness to provide skills to help with independent living. Your help and feedback are appreciated, and if you seek assistance, we're here to help.
Looking shot.
Gotcha.
And we'll be back here at the Connor Convocation Center. We are back at the Connor Convocation Center. The Thomas More Saints at the half of the PAC Women's Championship, leading the W&J Presidents 45-27. And we talk now with PAC Commissioner Joe Onderko. And Joe, always a pleasure to chat with you, and thanks for stepping in here at the half. Start with that shot that almost went in, and the way Sydney Moss was playing last night, an NCAA Division III record for most points scored in a single game with 63. Why not? Almost as if that should have went down or should have counted, but as Justin said, good in a game of horse, but not today off the shot
No, not
clock.
today. I don't think anybody, given the night she had last night and the weekend she's had, I don't think anybody would have been the least bit surprised if it had gone in naturally or any other way. But yeah, she's had an incredible weekend. Obviously, a lot of national publicity with her game last night, and a great championship atmosphere here at Thomas More.
A couple of terrific games last night. We'll talk about this women's tournament in the semifinals, hosted by Thomas More as well, and W&J putting up over 100 points to beat St. Vincent 101-91. And Gina DeRubo's group, they often achieve that 20-win mark, and this year is no different. Kind of the standard, and Gina DeRubo had said that they look at really going into every season, they look at 20 wins as kind of the barometer, and they go for there. It has been achieved, so another great season for W&J.
Gina is clearly, it's hard to think of Gina as one of our veteran coaches because I kind of came into the conference same time as her, but she really is, and you're right, she set the standard in this conference for a long time. I mean, before, a lot of people don't know that, before she was at W&J, really established a great program at Bethany, and won numerous PAC championships. And of course, the top player on that team was one Roseanne Scott, who has now gone on to build her own very successful program at Westminster. So not a surprise to see Gina lead the Presidents here, and she every year in, year out, she's just the model of consistency in this conference.
As you said, many folks may not realize the success Gina DeRubo had before coming to W&J is with all the success that Thomas More has had over the years, 7 straight PAC titles, hoping for number 8 in a row today. The Bethany Bison, led by Gina DeRubo at that time, were kind of that day's Thomas More, or you could say the current day Thomas More Saints are now the
Bison of old.
Exactly. But aside from the women's tournament, the men's tournament also concludes here at the Connor Convocation Center today. Later on tonight, as it'll be Thomas More against St. Vincent, a rematch of last year's title game, although the host site reversed, and every time those two teams get together, it's always a terrific matchup, and no reason to think that tonight will be any different.
No, I would agree, and I think it's interesting because you have St. Vincent, who was really the conference top dog for most of the year, and all of a sudden they had that 4 overtime loss with Teal, which really seemed to throw them. I mean, they were off their game for a week or so after that, losing to Thomas More, losing to Waynesburg, and everyone's like, wow, is St. Vincent going to get out of this tailspin? Well, then they did. They got really laid it to Teal on Tuesday night at their courts, and then impressive gutty win over a Waynesburg team that's just really on the rise in the PAC right now. And then you've got them coming down here to face a Thomas More team that, quite frankly, did not start this season very strong. 2-9 out of the gate under new head coach Drew Cooper. A lot of issues with the changeover in coaches, changeover in styles, to be expected. But this team has bought in down here, and they've really turned around what was a very disappointing first half of the season to be hosting the PAC championship. You're right, it's going to be a really interesting matchup tonight at 7:30.
Great storylines as far as men's basketball in the President's Athletic Conference. In the number 9 seed in this tournament, the Geneva Golden Tornadoes. They win the play-in game against Westminster, and then they shock the Bethany Bice of the top seed at home, which really kind of, they obviously gave Thomas More the opportunity as far as the men's contest to host tonight, but really threw the tournament into a tailspin as far as knocking it on its ear with the top seed being eliminated.
Randy, I remember about 8 years ago when we were having the discussion of having all 9 teams in the tournament once St. Vincent and Geneva came through their provisional membership period, and some folks thinking, well, do you need that many? I mean, would a 9 seed ever beat a 1 seed? Well, I think we have our answer now. Clearly it can happen. It has happened. Congratulations to Jeff Sanacero and that program, those kids, especially given the week before, a lot of folks may not know this, Geneva was winless in conference play, in position to do it, and then W&J throws in a half-court shot to beat them by 1 down in Washington. And you'd think a team would just be like, this just isn't our year. Instead, it just re-galvanized that team. They beat Westminster on the road twice, and then pulled that huge upset of Bethany. So that's got to be a great springboard for them going into the next season.
And also, not as far as the tournament, but you mentioned the Waynesburg Yellow Jackets. In the season, they had a feisty team led by Mark Christner, the head coach of the Yellow Jackets. So what a job he has done in turning that program around.
Yeah, Mark has really done well. In his 4th year, he took a program that, quite frankly, was really low when he took it over, and he's built it the right way. I mean, he's brought in kids and developed them within. He really took his lumps for the first couple of years because of that. But I mean, you see really good things happening down there. Obviously, the new floor, I think, has helped them a lot with recruiting. They are certainly a program that I think, if you ask the coaches, are going to be one of the preseason favorites going into next year. And I think Coach Christner and his staff and his kids, they bought into his vision, and now he's starting to reap the benefits of that.
Well, as we've talked about, basketball, not the only sport, of course, in the PAC. Indoor track recently coming to its conclusion, and tell us a little bit about that.
Well, yeah, we're launching indoor track as an official sport next year. We had kind of the last unofficial championship this Thursday night at the YSU Watts Center over in Youngstown, which is just a tremendous facility. We're really fortunate to be in there. And Westminster coming away with the sweep on the men's and women's side. Women's side, they had a pretty good lead. The Westminster women, really known for their pole vaulters. They've got 3 of the best Division III pole vaulters in the country, all on the same team. On the men's side, though, we had a great race. Titans ended up beating Bethany by 3 points. I mean, came right down to the wire. And again, a great springboard going into next year when it'll count in our all sports standings and things like that. I think it's going to be a great addition to the conference and really help us to build kind of a year-round track cross-country presence when you add in cross-country in the fall and outdoor track in the spring.
Talking right now with Joe Onderco, the PAC commissioner, about some of the ongoings in the President's Athletic Conference, and as far as swimming, the diving regionals this weekend.
Right. Yeah, we have several of our divers that qualified for the regional tournament coming out of our conference meet at Grove City. So we're hopeful to get some place in the nationals. That'll be announced early next week. So I know we've had some swimmers that have unofficially qualified. We'll have that announcement probably on Monday or Tuesday. And we certainly expect to send a pretty nice contingent from the PAC out to the national championships in Indianapolis this year.
It's been a fine year for PAC grapplers this year. The wrestling regionals tomorrow as well. Tell us how you feel the PAC might fare.
Well, I tell you what, for a conference that only has 3 programs, it's never been stronger. The 3 programs we have are really, really I mean, Teal's always been there. The last 5 years has seen Waynesburg come up to that level under Ron Headley, and now W&J under Tommy Prairie, ended up winning 4 weight classes at the PAC championships. All 3 of them, I think, are going to advance wrestlers national. You have to finish in the top 3 in your weight class at regional to qualify, and I think we'll see several do that, advance the national championships in a couple of weeks out in Cedar Rapids, Iowa.
Well, as the Thomas More Saints coming back onto the court, W&J about to. One more question for you. Again, we're speaking with PAC Commissioner John Derrico. Baseball, spring sports getting underway, and baseball hot and heavy today as well with some doubleheaders and whatnot. What are you looking for in spring sports?
Well, in Western PA, I'll just be happy to see spring sports because that means the weather's turned on us. We're getting a little taste of it. We had 55 degrees down here in northern Kentucky, and that was pretty welcome. I think on baseball, clearly we had our best year ever last year with both W&J and Thomas.